Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the ground shakes beneath your feet, when chaos storms through your world, and when emotions rise like a tidal wave ready to pull you under. In those moments, many will panic, many will crumble, and many will lose themselves. But you have the choice to be different. You have the power to stand tall in the middle of the storm, to train your mind to remain calm, steady, and unshaken, no matter what life hurls at you. Calmness is not weakness. It is mastery. The calm person does not lack emotion. They have conquered it. The calm person does not ignore the storm. They have learned how to walk through it with unwavering steps. Every great warrior, every leader, every soul who has overcome trials, each of them carried within a quiet strength, a calm that refused to be broken. And this calmness is not a gift you're born with. It is a discipline you create, a habit you forge, a practice you live every single day. When you learn to control your mind, you control your life. Think of the times when anger stole your peace, when fear made you weak, when worry drained your strength. Those moments did not destroy you because of what happened. They drained you because of how you react. Imagine if, instead of exploding with anger, you could breathe deeply and respond with clarity. Imagine if, instead of panicking in fear, you could stand in stillness, your mind sharp and your heart unshaken. That is what calmness offers you. It is not the absence of chaos, it is the weapon that allows you to navigate through it. You must train your mind the same way you would train your body. You cannot expect strength without repetition, without effort, without consistency. Each time life tests you, you are presented with an opportunity to react recklessly, or to breathe, to center yourself, and to remain calm. Start with the little things, the small frustrations, the minor setbacks, the tiny irritations. These are your training grounds. Because if you can master calmness in the small storms, you will be prepared when the hurricanes of life arrive. Calmness builds trust. It creates respect. It gives you clarity when others are blinded by rage or fear. People are drawn to the one who remains centered, who remains focused, who does not lose themselves when everything else is falling apart. And inside of you lies that same potential. Inside of you is a strength waiting to be unleashed. Not in fury, but in silence. Not in panic, but in patience. Do not allow circumstances to decide your peace. Do not give the world the power to control your mind. Instead, become the master of your reactions, the captain of your thoughts, the builder of your own inner fortress. When the world screams at you to panic, whisper back with stillness. When others lose themselves to fear, show them the power of presence. When life throws its darkest nights, become the calm that carries you toward the dawn. So stand today with a new decision, train your mind, discipline your thoughts, strengthen your calmness. Do not wait for life to test you. Start training now. For the world will always bring storms, but only you can decide whether you stand firm or fall apart. Choose calmness, and you will discover that no matter what happens, you are unshakable, unbreakable, unstoppable. Begin today. Train your mind to stay calm, and you will conquer not only your storms, but your life. Calmness is not the absence of emotion, nor is it the sign of a weak or passive spirit. Calmness is strength in its purest form, strength that does not need to roar, does not need to strike, and does not need to prove itself through loudness or fury. The person who remains calm in the middle of chaos possesses a power that few ever master. When the world is shouting, when tempers are rising, when emotions are running wild, the calm individual becomes the anchor, the steady force that cannot be moved. And yet society often confuses calmness with surrender, stillness with weakness, patience with passivity. But in truth, it is far easier to be loud, far easier to be reckless, far easier to let anger spill out in a rush of words and actions that later lead to regret. The real difficulty lies in restraint, in holding your ground without needing to strike back, in standing tall while your emotions are pulling you in every direction. That is strength. That is mastery. Think about the times when you lost your calm. Perhaps someone insulted you, and in anger you replied with words that cut deeper than intended. Maybe you faced a challenge, and instead of thinking clearly, you panicked and made a poor decision that only made the problem worse. In those moments, your power was not stolen by the situation. It was surrendered by your reaction. Now imagine if you had remained calm. Imagine if you had taken a breath, allowed silence to speak before words rushed out, allowed clarity to rise above the storm of emotions. How much stronger would you have been? How much more respect would you have commanded? How many battles could you have avoided by refusing to be dragged into chaos? Calmness is the shield that protects your dignity. It is the armor that keeps you from being wounded by temporary emotions. A calm mind is not only stronger, it is wiser, because clarity only comes when the noise inside is silenced. Anger blinds you, fear weakens you, panic chains you. But calmness opens your eyes, steadies your heart, and frees your spirit. When you learn to be calm, you learn to see the world not as it appears in the heat of the moment, but as it truly is. You begin to notice opportunities hidden inside struggles, solutions hidden inside problems, and strength hidden inside trials. The person who masters calmness carries an invisible power, one that changes the atmosphere of any room they enter. Their presence itself becomes influence, because calmness is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are unshaken, to those who radiate peace when everything else feels uncertain. Leaders throughout history were not remembered because they panicked when the weight of the world was on their shoulders. They were remembered because they remained calm, because they made decisions with clarity when others drowned in confusion. This is not a trait reserved for the chosen few. It is a discipline that anyone can build. And it begins with a choice to see calmness not as weakness, but as the greatest form of strength a person can possess. Life will never run according to your script. Situations will arise that you never planned for, people will test your patience, and circumstances will unfold in ways you cannot predict. But here is the truth: what happens outside of you does not control your destiny as much as what happens inside of you. Your reactions, not the events, shape the outcome of your life. When you master your reactions, you master your direction. When you allow the outside world to dictate your inner state, you hand over the reins of your life to forces beyond your control. But when you choose how to respond, when you discipline yourself to remain steady in the face of chaos, you reclaim that power and become the driver of your journey. Consider a moment of conflict. Someone disrespects you, challenges you, or tries to pull you into their storm. The immediate reaction for most is to snap back, to defend, to respond with the same fire. But does that reaction move you forward, or does it drag you into the same pit you were trying to rise above? Every time you lose yourself to anger, you lose a piece of your control. Every time you let fear dictate your decision, you surrender your strength. Every time you panic instead of pausing, you miss the opportunity to lead yourself to a better outcome. Mastery of life begins with mastery of your reactions, because your reactions become your habits, and your habits create your destiny. When you learn to pause before responding, you create space between the situation and your decision. That space is where power lies. That space is where wisdom speaks. That space is where you stop being controlled and start becoming the one in control. Reactions born out of anger or fear often destroy what you are trying to protect. But reactions born out of calmness, clarity, and patience build what you are trying to create. Imagine being the person who no longer gets rattled by insults, no longer gets derailed by setbacks, no longer gets manipulated by the chaos of others. Imagine how much stronger, freer, and more focused you would become if you no longer gave your power away to every situation that pressed against you. Mastering your reactions also means refusing to let temporary emotions cause permanent damage. How many relationships have been broken because of words spoken in anger? How many opportunities have been lost because of decisions made in fear? How many dreams have been abandoned because panic convinced someone that they were not capable? The truth is, it is not the obstacle that destroys people. It is their reaction to the obstacle. Two people can face the same trial, yet one crumbles while the other rises. Not because of the situation itself, but because of how they chose to respond. Your reactions are the language of your discipline. They speak louder than your intentions, louder than your words, louder than your desires. You can say you want peace, but if you respond with rage, you destroy it. You can say you want success, but if you respond to failure with panic, you block it. You can say you want strength, but if you react to hardship with weakness, you betray it. To live with purpose, to move with power, you must discipline yourself to choose calmness over chaos, patience over panic, wisdom over impulse. And remember this, control is not about controlling the world, because the world will always be beyond your grasp. Control is about mastering yourself, because you are the only thing you truly own. Every situation you face is a test, an invitation to either rise above or fall below, to either be ruled by the outside or to rule yourself from the inside. When you master your reactions, you are no longer a slave to circumstance. You become the author of your own story, the architect of your own future, the unshakable force that nothing can control. Every day, life gives you little tests. The driver who cuts you off in traffic, the person who interrupts you when you're speaking, the unexpected delay that ruins your plans, the inconvenience that shows up when you least expect it. These may feel like random annoyances, but in truth, they are the training grounds for your spirit. Each small challenge is not just a distraction. It is preparation. It is life's way of sharpening your mind, strengthening your patience, and preparing you for storms greater than you can see today. If you cannot remain calm when faced with small irritations, how will you remain steady when faced with great trials? If a few harsh words can shatter your peace, how will you stand when life throws heartbreak, loss, or crisis your way? These little moments are opportunities to train your mind, to practice control, to build resilience one small victory at a time. Think about a soldier preparing for battle. He does not begin his training on the battlefield. He trains in drills, in repetition, in smaller simulations that test his endurance, his focus, his discipline. It is the small training that prepares him for the war. In the same way, your daily frustrations are drills. Every time you resist the urge to argue, every time you choose patience over anger, every time you refuse to panic in a small setback, you are training your inner warrior for something greater. You are building a foundation that will not crumble when life's storms arrive. The mistake many people make is dismissing the small battles as unimportant. They explode in anger at trivial things, thinking it does not matter. They let impatience control them in small delays, believing it has no effect. But these small reactions are shaping their character, building patterns and writing habits into their minds. What you practice in the small moments will show up in the big ones. If you practice losing control over little things, you will lose control over great ones. But if you practice calmness in the small irritations, you will stand unshaken when the storms rage. Small challenges also teach you perspective. When you learn to stay calm in the little struggles, you begin to realize how much energy is wasted on things that don't matter. You stop fighting battles that are beneath you. You stop giving your power to petty conflicts. You stop allowing small distractions to steal your peace. And when the bigger storms come, you will already be skilled at protecting your energy, guarding your peace, and focusing only on what truly matters. Every small challenge is also an invitation to grow. It is easy to stay calm when nothing is testing you. It is easy to remain peaceful when life is smooth. But growth is not born in comfort. It is born in struggle. These small irritations are the weights that strengthen your mental muscles. Just as a bodybuilder grows stronger by lifting resistance, your mind grows stronger by resisting chaos. Each time you succeed in staying calm, you add another layer of resilience, another brick to the fortress of your inner strength. Do not despise the small tests. They are blessings in disguise. They are the whispers of life preparing you for louder storms. They are the reminders that every reaction is a choice, and every choice is a step toward becoming who you are meant to be. One day you will look back and realize that the reason you could face the great storms without breaking was because you trained your spirit in the small ones. The big victories of life are not won in the heat of the moment. They are won in the small, unseen decisions made every day, in the quiet battles that no one else notices. These small challenges are not against you, they are for you, shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you to rise when the world expects you to fall. When a person can remain calm in the middle of chaos, they naturally stand apart. People notice the one who doesn't lose their voice when everyone else is shouting, the one who doesn't crumble when everything else is falling apart, the one who keeps their presence steady no matter how heavy the storm becomes. Calmness commands respect because it is rare, because it is powerful, because it shows mastery over the one thing most people cannot control: their own emotions. The loudest voice may get temporary attention, but the calm voice earns lasting influence. People follow the one who brings order into disorder, who brings peace into panic, who brings direction into confusion. Calmness is not just an inner strength. It is a leadership quality that inspires others to trust you when they themselves feel lost. Think about the people you look up to, the ones whose presence alone brings you reassurance. They are not the ones who panic at the first sign of trouble. They are not the ones who react recklessly under pressure. They are the ones whose calmness makes you believe that no matter how dark things get, there is still a way forward. Calmness builds trust because it shows that you are not ruled by impulse, not swayed by fear, not controlled by emotion. And when people see that you can remain grounded even when everything is shaking, they feel safe in your presence. They know they can lean on you. They know they can believe in your judgment. They know they can follow your lead. Clarity is another gift of calmness. When your mind is filled with panic, it is impossible to think clearly. When anger clouds your judgment, mistakes are inevitable. But calmness clears the fog. Calmness allows you to step back and see the bigger picture. It creates space between you and the problem. Space where wisdom can rise, where solutions can be seen, where perspective can be gained. A calm mind sees opportunities where a chaotic mind only sees obstacles. A calm spirit finds answers where a restless spirit finds only confusion. When you are calm, you are able to make decisions with precision instead of reaction, with vision instead of fear. Calmness also creates a ripple effect. When one person chooses calm in a room filled with chaos, their presence shifts the energy of everyone around them. Others begin to slow down, to breathe deeper, to think clearer. Calmness is contagious, and people gravitate toward it. It doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to demand. It simply influences by existing. A calm leader creates a calm team. A calm parent creates a calm household. A calm friend creates a calm circle. Calmness spreads peace, the way fire spreads heat, and its influence runs deeper than words ever could. Respect is not won by losing control. Trust is not built on reckless emotions. Clarity is not born out of panic. All of these are earned, all of these are created when you discipline yourself to remain calm. The person who keeps calm under pressure earns the respect of those who cannot. The person who remains calm in conflict earns the trust of those who are looking for stability. The person who stays calm in decision-making earns clarity that others will always seek. Calmness is not just a tool for survival, it is a force that builds relationships, strengthens influence, and multiplies opportunities. This is why calmness is not something you practice only for yourself. It is something you practice for the world around you. The way you carry yourself in storms affects more than just your own journey. It affects everyone who walks beside you. Your calmness can be the reason someone else finds their strength. Your calmness can be the reason someone else discovers hope. Your calmness can be the reason a situation turns toward peace instead of destruction. Calmness creates respect, builds trust, and opens clarity, and in mastering it, you do not just change your own life. You change the lives of those around you.